Okay, so for tonight's live training, I want to give a talk about supplementation. This is one of the topics that you guys wanted to hear. And while it's not my favorite thing to talk about because I think it gets so overhyped in like the fitness industry and the health industry, it is important to talk about, and everyone wants to talk about it. Everyone wants to know what supplements you use. Everyone wants to know what supplements you should use, what's not good to take, stuff like this, what helps with what. So I find it's a useful conversation to have. So I'm going to start out the training with the pretty much what everyone says regarding supplements, and that's they are supplements. They're not necessary. They're not needed. In fact, it'd be ideal if you got all of your nutrients, macronutrients, and micronutrients from a whole food diet. If you got everything you needed and you weren't deficient in anything, and you ate everything from whole food sources, that's how your body wants to operate. That's the best way to go. However, this is really hard to do, especially in Western culture diet today, where a lot of things are over processed. It's finding, farm to table food sources is not very easy. Foods lose a lot of, you have mass production in meat and vegetables and produce and, grains, and you strip away a lot of nutritional value from a lot of these foods, and they're not what they used to be. And once you try and get the farm to table foods, the really high quality, low processed foods, they're expensive. So supplements can be a big help here. It can play a big role in balancing out a diet that is not what it used to be. So AKA, some of the message is supplements help, they're not needed. So let's get into how to pick your supplements. What supplements do you need? What supplements should you be taking? What supplements should you not buy? So biggest thing with supplements I find is to make sure that they are third-party tested. You don't want supplements with basically like contamination, with added stuff in there that's not beneficial to you, that can be harmful for you. One of the big labels to look for is making sure it was produced in a CGMP factory. That's typically a good third-party tested. You can they're clean. You can trust them. A couple companies that have this. First Form, I use everything First Form. First Form has this on all their stuff. Better Performance Nutrition, I'm pretty sure does. What are the ones? I totally had a third one in my head. Yeah, so I'm kind of drawing a blank. I know those two do for sure, and it's pretty well advertised for most companies. So I know, yeah, First Form, Better Performance Nutrition. I think True Nutrition does. They're a pretty good company. Legion supplements do. Swolverine's a good one too. Transparent Labs, that's one I was thinking of that I couldn't. So those are good companies. I've used all of those in the past in some way, shape, or form. I've tried all their products. I've only tried all the products from, or pretty much all the products from Transparent Labs and First Form. The other ones I've only tried like something from. So take that with what you will, but those are typically good companies to look for, to look into. And that this is not an all-encompassing list. There's plenty more good supplement companies out there, but those are just a few to kind of like look for, and kind of you can get familiar with what their nutrition labels look like, their processes look like, and you can start to find those in other companies. And odds are, if one great supplement company is doing it, others will have same process. There's only so many ways you can skin a cat and create really good, clean third-party tested supplements. So that's a big thing. Remember, that label is CGMP. That you want to find that on the manufacturing label. That's a good sign that you're getting good, clean stuff. Now, getting into some of the popular supplements. Whey protein is probably the most popular one, and then you could argue that creatine is more popular, but we'll just start with whey protein. So I don't even really consider whey protein a supplement. It's really just food. It's just powdered protein. It's not like, when I think of supplements, I think of like, it is, it's like a powder or pill of something that is, really hard to find in that kind of abundance in a source. A scoop of protein powder is basically just like eating a chicken breast. They're not very different. And like even, whey protein powders have, some of them have carbs, like it's usually pretty low. It's like 5 or less. And some of them have fats, it's usually pretty low. So they're usually like 2 or less. But again, that's pretty similar to macros of like 4 ounces of chicken breast. So again, whey protein, I don't even really consider a supplement. It's more just like powdered food. And so it's super. I find whey protein very helpful because for a lot of people, eating adequate amounts of protein, they don't do. And it's really hard for them, especially when they're first starting out. If they're first starting out counting macros and calories, protein is always the big hurdle to hit. Is how can I eat more protein? How can I get more protein? And some people eating, 2 pounds of meat a day isn't super ideal. Maybe they just get tired of the taste. They get tired of like, the briny, savory, meaty flavors, and they want something sweeter. Protein powder can, really help with this, whether it's like, chocolate banana overnight oats, which, you have your oats and your chocolate protein powder and, peanut butter and banana. And that's, that's kind of like your sweet fix. That's how I structure with my protein. My protein is I, make overnight oats every day for a post-workout meal. And then it's with my, I have like a mint chocolate cookie protein powder, and it's sweet. It's, minty. My favorite ice, or one of my favorite ice creams is mint chocolate chip. So it kind of provides me with that sweet tooth. And then the rest of the day, I'm eating like, another 200 grams of like meat protein. So that's one of the biggest ways I find whey protein helpful is, for one, it helps you hit your protein mark, and it also kind of provides like a different flavor of protein. That's not, salty, meaty, briny. It's more sweet. You can put it in smoothies and all these different things. You can make like protein coffee. It's really versatile. And again, it's just like, it's an easy way to, like, rather than eating, 4 ounces of chicken breast, it's just a scoop of protein powder, and they're basically the same thing. You know, whey protein isolate is what you typically want. That's the first ingredient you want to look for in whey protein. That's, that is one of those bioavailable forms of protein. Is that whey protein isolate. That's what you want to get when you're looking to build muscle and get a high protein diet. You are going to get whey protein isolate and whey protein concentrate and meats and stuff like this. And in all honesty, that some people make a big deal out of the whey protein isolate, whey protein concentrate. And yes, it is important to look in a whey protein supplement, in a protein powder, that whey protein isolate is the first ingredient. But overall, if you're getting enough protein in your diet, it doesn't really matter if it is animal protein. Plant protein's a different discussion because those are incomplete proteins. But overall, if you're getting enough protein in your diet, your body's not going to really care to differentiate that a ton between whey protein isolate and whey protein concentrate. But I know it sounds contradicting. Whey protein isolate is the first ingredient you want to look for in a good protein powder. And then after that, you want to find something low carbohydrate, low fat. Some proteins have like 10 to 15 grams of carbohydrates in them. And at that point, it's really not a protein supplement. It's basically just like food. And you're not getting basically what you want when you take a protein supplement, which is pretty much just protein. So those are a few things I look for in protein powders. And then creatine. Creatine is probably the second most popular supplement. It might even be more popular. If you kind of like live in the niche that is, bodybuilding and performance sports and, supplementation in those worlds, creatine is probably more popular than whey protein. Now, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, creatine just, fills your muscles with water. Creatine, that's a good thing. A hydrated muscle is a healthy muscle, is a strong muscle. You don't want your muscles dehydrated. That's not good. And also, creatine doesn't just make you puffy. It doesn't just make you look bloated and like fluffy. That's not what creatine does. Creatine does not make you bigger. It is what creatine does. It is creatine monohydrate, and what it does is when you're going through your energy systems, we use energy in the form of ATP. Okay, adenosine triphosphate. So what creatine does is it takes your ATP breakdown, because that's how you get lactic acid. You're going through your workout, you're breaking down ATP energy. It forms into adenosine. Oh my God. I need to look up the name so I don't butcher this and the internet calls me out. It is. Yeah, adenosine, or adenosine. Adenosine triphosphate and adenosine diphosphate. So ATP, again, breaks down to adenosine triphosphate to adenosine diphosphate. And there's a lactic acid group that comes out of it. If we can't, and then that's what causes like the big burn, the big pump in your muscle is, when you're getting like, that burning sensation, whether it's, you're on a run, you're in a lift, whatever it is, that's what it comes from. What ATP does is it helps speed up that energy process and convert that ADP back into ATP. So we have a more efficient energy cycle. It helps with power output. It helps with strength. It helps with performance. It is also the most researched supplement on the market with no known negative side effects. So, as much as, people can say, creatine isn't good for you, creatine does this, it's all garbage. There are no proven and no known negative side effects of creatine. And it's not because there's a lack of study, it is because it's not because that it's from a lack of studying. It is the most researched supplement on the market. It's just good. It's a good supplement. And if you're looking to build muscle, if you're looking to train for performance, you're kind of stupid for not taking creatine. Just being fully honest with you guys. It's also super cheap. It's probably the cheapest supplement on the market because it's just in its bare form, creatine monohydrate. It's a white powder. It's flavorless. There's nothing added to it. That's all it is. I mean, I think I get like 100 servings for like $20. It's super cheap. So again, creatine monohydrate. Frankly, if I were to get rid of all my supplementation and I could only keep one, it'd probably be creatine monohydrate. It is one of the best supplements out there, and I think especially if you're looking to build muscle and train for performance and train to get stronger, you need to be taking it. Now, going more on what are other really beneficial performance supplements? Another popular one is BCAAs, or branched chain amino acids, or EAAs, essential amino acids. They're not important for performance. They're not important for really anything. If you're eating a full protein diet, if you're eating, your body weight in grams of protein, of animal protein, they're not doing anything for you. Getting an extra 5 grams of BCAAs from a supplement is not doing anything for you. It's not doing anything extra for you. It's not doing anything beneficial for your performance or for your recovery if you're eating enough protein from a whole food diet. So they're kind of a waste of money. Unless, a caveat that I'll get into more at the end, unless you really like them, then go ahead and if you just like drinking them and you like it and you're fine spending your money on it, go for it. But do not think you need them for any reason. Unless, again, the vegan conversation comes up. That's kind of another conversation for maybe an entire other training, but we won't get into that. So performance and training for supplements, not BCAAs, not EAAs. What are some really crucial ones? Electrolytes. So whether it's in the form of just like Himalayan sodium, which is like a pinch of pink Himalayan salt, sea salt, potassium, and just like getting electrolytes, getting salts into your system to help rehydrate you. This was kind of like the Gatorade's big selling point. They know you sweat. If you are just going through a workout and you're pouring sweat and you're constantly sweating everything out, and you're just drinking water, your performance will suffer because your body needs electrolytes. It needs to be properly hydrated, and it needs those electrolytes to actually continue its performance. So there's a ton of great, really cheap electrolyte, supplement companies. LMNT is a popular one that I think is pretty good. They have a lot of sodium in there, so just kind of be ready for a salty drink. But it is in efficacious doses. And there's a lot of really cheap ones too. And then worst comes to worst, just get some lemonade Neo or something, put it in your water, and take a pinch of salt, and you're fine. And also, odds are, if you just salt your food like a normal human who knows how to cook, you're fine on electrolytes. But electrolytes are a really crucial performance supplement. If you're not getting enough from a whole diet, you do want to supplement with electrolytes to make sure you perform at a high level constantly. And then caffeine. Caffeine is another big one. Caffeine has known effects, and there's a lot of science backing behind it that it improves with your aerobic threshold and improves with your performance. Why do you think pre-workout is so popular? Because the caffeine in it works. It is like there's a lot of science behind it. There's a lot of data behind it. Caffeine works. So caffeine is another big one to have for performance. You don't want to be taking in too much. Some pre-workouts get pretty crazy and throw like 300 to 400 milligrams of caffeine. Some I've even seen have 600 milligrams of caffeine. You don't want to take like a whole pot of coffee to the face when you're drinking your pre-workout. That's not good. Typically, you don't want to exceed over 400 milligrams of caffeine a day. That's when it can start to be detrimental to your energy systems. It can start to be detrimental to your sleep, to your recovery. And you kind of get like a caffeine addiction. And if you don't have, your 2 cups of coffee a day, you're like a shaking wreck. It's like you're hungover. So don't get addicted to caffeine. Use it wisely. It does work. And then another one is beta alanine. So everyone who's taking pre-workout is familiar with the face tingles, with like the tingles you feel in your face and your arms, and that's kind of like the big like pre-workout kick, like once you start to feel like the itch kick on, like you're ready to go. That's beta alanine. An efficacious dose of beta alanine is 3 to 5 grams. So that's another thing you want to look for in your pre-workouts is, does it have at least 3 grams of beta alanine? If it only has 1, it's not really doing enough. You want 3 to 5. Again, beta alanine is super cheap. So what you can do, if there's a pre-workout that you love, and it does not have beta alanine in it, you can go to like a bulk supplements, like literally bulksupplements.com is where I get a lot of my just like kind of dry ingredients. You can get a bunch of beta alanine from them super cheap, and then you can just throw in 5 grams to your pre-workout that you love, and now you have a really great product if everything else is clean. So caffeine, creatine, electrolytes, beta alanine. Those are kind of like the 4 big supplements for performance and like building that you will feel in your workouts. And then so kind of like moving from the performance side and like the protein side, getting into micronutrients. Micronutrients are honestly, in my opinion, more crucial than the other ones because micronutrients are basically what helps your body fire on a cellular level. And going from the inside out, your cellular level is more important than your macro level. That's your cellular, what your cells do and how they function. If they're not functioning at a high level, your body will not be able to perform the physiological processes from day to day to thrive, survive, and procreate. End of story. You need it, you need to have your micronutrients dialed in and in balance and well. Now, again, like I said before, it would be great if we could all get a full micronutrient palette and balance from a whole food diet, but especially with the way vegetables are processed and produce is processed, whether it's grown in a greenhouse, it's grown out of season, it's, if it is grown in season, and it's shipped from, I don't know, Ecuador or Cuba or, across seas to get, fresh produce that's growing there. And, say like you're in the Midwest in the winter, not much is growing. So you need to get stuff from other places where it is growing. That's a transfer process. That's a transportation process. That's going to denature a lot of the vitamins from the produce. And it's not going to have a lot of the nutrient dense value that you think it does. It's going to have some, they're still good for you to eat, but it's not what, if you were to eat, a carrot prime, like if you were to take a carrot out of the ground, prime season for carrots, give it a little wash, eat it, that's going to have a ton of micronutrient value and nutrient dense quality to it versus if if it's out of carrot season and you just pick something, off the shelf, there's not going to be very much nutrient quality there. That's just how it is. So it is therefore crucial to find a good micronutrient balance that, for you. And you can give some blanket statements, a good multivitamin is good to have, vitamin D is good to have, vitamin C is good to have. Those are some, I think like 50% of the population there's a greater than 50% chance that you are deficient in one of those 3. But again, that's kind of a blanket statement. Everyone is individual, and really the only way to know how to dial in your micronutrients is through blood work. So, one person could be vitamin D deficient, one person could not. There's no way to like just say this is what you should take without doing blood work. So again, that's the best way to dial things in. And I know that's kind of extreme. So some vitamins that I would take. Finding a good micronutrient to take. Vitamin D and vitamin C are a pretty good bet, and vitamin B complex. Those are pretty 4 good bets to take. Odds are you're deficient in something there. And then a big thing with micronutrients is you want capsulated supplements. You don't want hard pressed tablets. Your body has a really hard time breaking down and digesting hard pressed tablets versus encapsulated supplements. So, you could be thinking you're taking, I don't know, like 500 milligrams of vitamin D a day, or you want 5,000 IUs a day of vitamin D. So you could be thinking that you're taking that, but it's a hard pressed tablet. Odds are you're not getting most of it because you're not digesting it, you're not absorbing it. So you want encapsulated pills, not hard pressed tablets for micronutrients. Another huge one, fish oil, omega-3 fatty acids. This is another kind of like buzzword. Ideally we want our omega-3 fatty acid to omega-6 fatty acid ratio to be a 1-to-1. That doesn't happen. It's pretty unrealistic. A lot of omega-6s come from processed foods, from stress, and they cause inflammation and inflammatory foods. That's why we call them inflammatory foods, because they contain omega-6s. So chicken has a lot of omega-6s. A lot of like fattier meats have omega-6s in them. Processed foods have omega-6s in them, and then a lot of cooking oils, vegetable oil, seed oil, nut oils, stuff like that. Pretty much anything that isn't, animal fat, grass-fed butter, ghee, avocado oil, coconut oil, extra, if you're eating raw extra virgin olive oil, that's fine. But pretty much any other oil that is not one of those is going to be high in omega-6s, and it's going to throw that ratio way off. So especially in a Western cultural society where stress is at an all-time high through training, through life, through work, through our foods, we want to shoot for a 6-to-1 omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acid ratio. So making sure you're getting 2 to 5 grams of high quality omega-3 fatty acids in fish oil. That's what you want to do. Another way to get this is obviously through eating wild caught fish. Do not eat farm fish. If there's farm raised fish are just as worse or just as bad as when you see like the cow raised in a dark barn in cinder block its entire life just so it builds almost no muscle and gets really fat. It's the same thing with chickens raised on a grain-fed diet with where they keep them in a dark coop, and then they just artificially flash on the lights to make them think they're going through days so they lay more eggs. We know those animals have a lot of cortisol, so and the meat is really low quality. Farm raised fish is almost just as bad. It might be worse. So we don't want farm raised fish. Tilapia is a very popular fish. Tilapia is never wild caught. It is almost always farm raised. Do not get tilapia. Stuff like salmon, cod, mahi, flounder. Those are common fishes that I can often find wild caught relatively easily. So you want wild caught fish. Tuna is another one you can easily find that's wild caught. Wild caught fish is where we get a big source of omega-3 fatty acids too. So everyone says salmon's so good. Salmon's good for you because it has all those omega-3 fatty acids. That's why it's good for you. So eating a lot of wild caught fish and making sure you're getting a high quality omega-3 fatty acid supplement, a good fish oil supplement, is paramount to helping your body reduce inflammation and deal with the excess of omega-6s in the Western culture diet. That was pretty much everything I needed to cover in terms of supplements. Sleep is the last one. So sleep, you don't need anything for sleep. Honestly, so I take things for sleep, but that's also my sleep is something that I'm constantly working on. My sleep routine is something that I'm constantly working on. It is not perfect. It is not dialed in by any means. Ideally, you don't take anything to get great sleep, and you just get great sleep. But sometimes life happens, and it doesn't happen that way. So Great things or things that are really helpful for sleep. Magnesium. Magnesium also helps a ton with your micronutrients and cellular function. Magnesium before bed has been shown to help and aid with deep and restful sleep. Same thing with low doses of melatonin. You don't want, so your body naturally produces melatonin. You don't want to take, I think 3 milligrams. Don't quote me on this, but I think 3 milligrams is kind of like the end cap of melatonin to take before it really hinders your natural melatonin productions. Again, I haven't done as much research on that as I should. That's kind of just what I've seen generally. Don't quote me on that. You know, odds are you should do your own research and verify too. I could be wrong on that. But yeah, so low doses of melatonin is like 1 to 3 milligrams of melatonin. Valerian root is another really popular one that helps with sleep. And then L-theanine is another really good one that helps with sleep. Ashwagandha has been known to help with sleep, more so for cortisol reduction. CBD has been known to help with sleep as well for, stress reduction and cortisol reduction at the end of the day. So personally, like my little sleep cocktail is I take melatonin, I take 3 grams of melatonin, 3 milligrams, excuse me. I did not take 3 grams of melatonin, good God. But so I take magnesium, 3 milligrams of melatonin. I think it's 500 milligrams of valerian root and L-theanine and L-theanine, 200 milligrams for L-theanine. The valerian root, that's a pretty standard dose. That's a pretty standard dose. I think 2 to 500 milligrams, and you'll be fine. That'll be enough to have the effects you want it to have. As I'm talking about my sleep supplements, I'm getting sleepy. But again, so those are some common ones that you want to see those in a sleep supplement. They do make kind of like non-melatonin containing sleep supplements, and it's usually some form of magnesium, valerian root, L-theanine, chamomile will sometimes be in there, ashwagandha will sometimes be in there. Those are some of the those are the common ones that make for a good sleep supplement. So if you struggle with sleep and you've tried, shutting off devices, meditation, breathing exercises, stuff to really help wind you down before bed, and still you just can't sleep, these supplements can help you sleep. So that pretty much covers everything. Again, supplements they're supplemental, right? They're the last 10% of the battle, if that. Honestly, they're probably closer to 5. The only supplement I can think of that'd be more than 5% is maybe protein, if you really struggle to hit your protein goal. But overall, supplements should be used as a last resort, and they should be used to fill in gaps. And by when filling in gaps, it's not just like, oh, like my normal lifestyle has these gaps. No, like once you have a dialed training routine, once you have a dialed nutrition program, once you have really great recovery, once you have those 3 pillars solidified and you've worked on them and they're dialed in and they're good, that's when you should look to get in supplements. Once you have your base layer of nutritional and health habits down, again, good training, a good diet, and good nutrition and good recovery, then look to supplements to help you out further. If you really just can't hit a protein goal, protein supplement. You really creatine, caffeine, beta alanine, and some extra electrolytes can help with performance, stuff like that. But again, it's not a deal breaker. It's not going to make or break you. You'll probably feel better in the gym, but odds are your performance is not going to increase dramatically from any supplement you take. So that's kind of my 2 cents on supplements there. If I had to give, so here are some good ones not to take. Don't take a fat burner. Do not, for the love of God, do not take a fat burner. All they do, they're just stimulants. They're just like extra caffeine to help your metabolism going, and it's artificial. It is not natural. A fat loss supplement will never be why you lose fat. You might, if you take a fat loss supplement and you're not in a caloric deficit, you're not going to lose fat. End of story. Fat supplements are not, and odds are they're normally really expensive. Fat loss supplements are not cheap. Do not take them. They're a waste of your money and a waste of your time. Same thing with the jerkesterone and the natural testosterone boosting supplements. Don't take those either. They're if you have low testosterone from a high stress lifestyle, go get HRT. There's nothing wrong with HRT. If you have clinically low levels of testosterone, and I'm not talking about like, I'm not like, obviously yes, if you have like if your testosterone levels are like sitting at like 100, yeah, you need HRT. But even if like, once you're gonna like 1 to 300, like if you're gonna like 1 to 300 levels, like odds are you still need HRT. Like it's kind of bastardized in our culture and looked down upon. There's nothing wrong with it. Having healthy testosterone levels for a male and for females is paramount to our health. It, with sex drive, with determination, with performance, just with like not being super moody, with feeling good about yourself, with having high enough energy. We need testosterone. If we did something in our previous life to mess it up, say you took testosterone or steroids when you were in high school, or you've lived, a super high stress diet by living in a calorie deficit, and you've worked 60-hour weeks for years on end, and you've tanked your hormones and tanked your recovery, and you have super low testosterone, whatever may have like tanked your testosterone levels in the past, you might need HRT, and that's fine. Go get HRT. Go get a coach. Go get a good doctor. It is okay to take. It is not like you are not in the wrong for taking HRT if you need it, but do not take like progesterone and testosterone, those natural testosterone boosters. They're not going to make a difference. They're not going to be like what pushes you over the edge in your weight training or your performance. They're expensive. They're a waste of money. Don't take those. Getting all fired up. I'm trying to think of any other supplements that I don't want you guys to waste your money on. And again, BCAAs and EAAs, so this brings up like a good point. Placebos are a thing. I had a nutrition coach, shout out Danielle. She, back in undergrad, she coached me for a little bit then. And she said, she's like, don't discredit the value of placebos. The supplement might not work. But if it's not breaking the bank and you like it, maybe you just like the taste. Some people take BCAAs just because they like to sip on something sweet that's not water during their workout. That is fine. But if you're taking BCAAs expecting them to have this remarkable impact on your recovery performance, that's where I want to correct, because then you're wasting your money. But if you just like to sip on something sweet and you like BCAAs throughout your workout, again, that's totally fine. That's your choice. If you like them, take them. But if that's the only reason you're taking them, just because you like them, again, to sip on something that's not water during your workout, fine, more power to you. Like I said, placebos work. So don't discredit those. Again, if it's a relatively cheap supplement and you like it, and it might not have a ton of like great science backing it, or has like a lot of refuting science, but there's no like super negative downsides to it, but you just like it and it's relatively cheap, more power to you. Take it. If you like it, go. Again, finding stuff that's sustainable and fits your habits and fits your likes is really important. So don't discredit that. Yeah, that's pretty much that's pretty much everything I want to talk about regarding supplements. So to give like a blanket, if someone was like, okay, what supplement should I take? Let's make our avatar a 24-year-old who's looking to lose fat, build muscle. This could be male or female. So I would say a high quality whey protein supplement with that whey protein isolate as a primary ingredient, for one, to help them hit their protein number, and also just to get some variety to their protein consumption. Get some sweetness in there with all like the meaty and savory flavors that come from normal protein sources. Caffeine 1 to 300 milligrams a day. Creatine monohydrate 5 grams a day. Beta alanine 3 to 5 grams a day. Electrolytes throughout your workout are a good option. You don't need them, but they can help, especially if you don't eat a lot of super salty foods throughout the day. That can help with your performance. In terms of micronutrients, if you really care about your performance and your recovery and your well-being, get blood work. That's the best way to do it. If you don't want to get blood work, I would say a multivitamin, vitamin A, or not a multivitamin, vitamin C, vitamin D, magnesium, and omega-3. those would be and a vitamin B complex. Those would be the the micros that I would take. Those are the ones that I've seen to kind of like most people, or there's a good chance you're deficient in one of those. So that's a good kind of array to get you started, and odds are fill out some gaps that you're missing from your whole food diet. If you have, so I take a probiotic. I love my probiotic. I think it helps a lot. If you do have some digestive issues and you're not super regular, a probiotic is a good idea, especially if you do not consume a lot of fermented foods like kombucha, like apple cider vinegar, like other vinegars, Greek yogurts that has healthy bacteria in it. Kimchi is another fermented food. Stuff if you don't consume a lot of those foods in your diet, a probiotic is a good idea to take just to get some healthy bacteria and healthy cultures in your gut to help and aid with digestion, because we know our immune system lives in our gut. So if we have poor gut health, our immune system is going to be poor, and again, that's going to lead to a lot more stress in our body and put ourselves in a compromised state and not recover. And we know recovery is king. And then, yeah, that would be my baseline. And then to top on with that, if you struggle with sleep, I would find something with low dosage of melatonin, 1 to 3 milligrams. Take your magnesium at night, valerian root 200 to 500 milligrams, and 200 milligrams of L-theanine. Ashwagandha helps. You can take that if you want. It is not crucial. CBD helps. It is not crucial. I take CBD. I like it. Again, it is not paramount. It is not crucial, but it helps. So that would be, given a 24 avatar looking to build muscle and lose fat, and that would be the array that I would kind of deal out. Again, all of that is going to be expensive. That's a lot of supplements. It's going to be expensive, but that's what I would do. That's pretty much what I take now. The micronutrients are not dialed into what I take now. I take I take some more specific stuff because I have done blood work. I do know what I'm deficient in, so I know what I'm tailoring my micronutrient routine to. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. So that is everything I know, without getting into an intensive amount of science regarding supplements and my opinions on supplements and what you should take and what you should avoid and the application of where they're useful. So again, this video will be uploaded, or this training will be uploaded. So yeah, as always, life trainings, we are